recognize that this was the likely outcome after, especially after they saw what he did in Georgia in 2008. So this I think is a failure of Western foreign policy.
I have to also remind you one thing. Right now, as we speak, there is something like close to 100,000 Russian soldiers making military exercises on the borders of Ukraine, and Western, whoever military experts are predicting that these troops are well equipped with attack weapons, and they can get to substantive part of territory of Ukraine without any resistance. So I guess that this moves, sanctions, signals are at least maybe weak, but efforts to get situation stabilized and to prevent from the further steps leading to more and more escalation. The problem is escalation. First World War started also with innocent beginnings, and then no one was able to stop it. Now people in the West are saying, we would like to know what's happening in the mind of Mr. Putin. He's surrounded by yes men, by generals, and he can make similar, I don't want to compare him to Hitler too much, but he can make similar mistakes as any other leader who believes that now he has got the momentum, power, because the other side is weak. And I agree with this criticism that the other side is weak, inconsistent, this is now the Putin's time, and he is doing his thing, but very dangerous thing.
Very briefly, two more words. I think I need to point out to actually the opposition forces in Ukraine, because we've been talking about Putin, but I don't know how much you know about actually the split in the Ukrainian opposition. There are moderate opposition leaders, but there are radical opposition leaders. And one of the biggest problems in Ukraine right now is also a lot of illicit weapons that radical opposition groups control. And a few days ago, the new government of Ukraine, asked for the population to surrender their weapons. And there is an estimate about 25 million, but they surrendered only 3 million. So it was a very small number of the weapons that was surrendered. So unless the moderates somehow get hold of the radical opposition, and one of their leaders actually was killed today, the leader of the right sector, that called for ethnic violence against the Russian population. So they need to somehow work it through. So it's not like Mr. Putin does not really have grounds to completely say that the opposition in Ukraine never called for any ethnic cleansing. They did, but it's not the whole Ukrainian opposition, but the radical part of the Ukrainian opposition. And they never did anything. That's another difference, say, from Serbia.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut this off, but for better or worse, I think we will meet again in about 6 months. So, thank you.